Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Thomas Carlyle's great man individual theory. However, apologies. I'm so sorry to do this. You cannot understand anything in this video if you have not watched everything in the playlist up to this point. So I'm talking about a deep subject here, the great man individual theory in context of Dungeons and Dragons. And I don't want to repeat myself in the video, so you got to watch this in the context of the playlist. So if you want to, so either go to one of my many other videos that do not require watching a playlist, or go back to the beginning and start from there. Thank you. All right. So what I want to talk today about is dormant great man individuals, right? So I am convinced that Dungeons and Dragons now serves as a divining rod, and I don't think this was intended. I think one of the things is, so it is my humble opinion that Gary Gygax built a secular human improvement engine and called it Dungeons and Dragons. I think he really wanted to help. He literally was born in World War II, right? Before he was 7 years old, nuclear bombs had been used, right? He then lived through the Korean War, the Vietnam War. His entire youth was just blood-bathed, right? Like, while he was studying the world and living in the world, he was just impacted by some of the darkest periods in human history. And I think he looked at that and just saw this world and was like, I gotta help this, right? And he saw psychology coming up to aid. He saw a lot of self-help books coming up to aid. And I think what he said was, nobody's going to engage with this stuff, and these aren't strong platforms to help humanity. And I think he built Dungeons and Dragons to help humanity. And when he did that, he specifically built this bridge for all humans, for any human on the planet who had $25 to buy a starter set, they could interact with identity, language, and narrative in a way that no other human had ever had ever interacted with those elements the way he did, and so it's a big deal, right? Like, it's really a big thing. So basically, since then, others have come along. And one of the biggest was Lorraine Williams. Lorraine Williams invested a tremendous amount of value and utility and innovation into Dungeons and Dragons, right? Gary Gygax carried it for 12 years, and then he handed it off to Lorraine Williams, and she carried it for 11 years. And in the first 23 years of Dungeons and Dragons, there was actually a lot done to kind of solidify what Gary did, right? And so I think since then, what's been happening is people have been coming and they're just really cleaving to, like, they're just very they're putting themselves in Gary's legacy and doing things that carry Gary's legacy forward. And I think what Dungeons and Dragons has become is this incredibly powerful finder of great man individuals, right? And the reason why is anyone who comes out with 100 sessions of Dungeons and Dragons as a dungeon master, they are fundamentally, by definition, charismatic, confident, and intelligent. And the reason why is, though, DMing is public speech. In order to keep people engaged that long, you have to be charismatic. And in order to engage with Dungeons and Dragons, which has thousands of pages of canon, literally in every single edition, you have to be intelligent, right? So we have this structure, right? What I'm saying is, who does it help, right? So Gary was intending to help society, right? In my humble opinion, but this ability to find that we are a great man individual, and I think that's one of the things that's really helped me, is I am a great man. I'm like Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Harriet Tubman, right? Amelia Earhart, right? And then Winston Churchill, And it's really fascinating with Winston Churchill, because he was a tough man. Like, he didn't do any. He only achieved with his brain. But he saved millions of lives, right? And not with his physical abilities, but with his mental abilities. That's incredible, right? And and I am incredibly blessed I really feel that the 1983 red Moldvay basic set of Dungeons & Dragons showed me, when I was 13 years old, you are a great man individual. Like, you can create worlds, you can make worlds, you can shake worlds, you can break worlds. There's nothing you encounter is going to be able to defeat you going forward. And so what I think Dungeons & Dragons does is it tells dormant great man individuals. So if I'm a great man individual, why am I not, in position to fix every problem of America? Well, first of all, this is kind of odd, but I actually decided when I was 18 that I wanted to run for president, right? So I went and got my degree, and I found that I absolutely hated politics. And I got my degree in political science, and I was like, I do not want to be in politics. When I was in Military University, I did my my internship, and I saw a Pennsylvania politician firsthand, and he was bog awful. Oh my gosh! And so here's the issue. I think the important thing about Dungeons & Dragons is it identifies great man individuals, right? But they're dormant, right? And the reason why is we currently have a structure, right, where great man individuals are chosen by our society through two paths: Ivies, American Ivies, and American Celebrity, right? And so an Ivy, that's your credentials. And now, right, in America, it's 5 billion. On the celebrity side, you know what? Let's do it this way. It's 10 billion in ticket sales. 10 billion, right? If you're an American celebrity with 10 billion in ticket sales, no one's going to laugh if you say, I'm going to run for president, right? And so I really feel like, and so what Dungeons & Dragons is doing is it's identifying these dormant great man individuals and telling them, hey, you are a great man. The reason you're not ruling this world is the world isn't structured to allow it. We currently have these absolutely horrific choices that actually get everybody, set to, it's really bad, right? Like, we have these horrible criteria that we choose our great man individuals now with, right? And so Dungeons & Dragons can identify to the great man individuals, you are a great man. Don't worry. The reason you're not ruling the world is the world isn't currently structured. But what I'm saying to you is this is why I'm so desperately trying to get people on board with what I believe about Dungeons & Dragons, because I actually believe Dungeons & Dragons is the last great hope for humanity, right? Like, and the reality is, I'm an evangelical Christian, okay? And I want the world to be saved. The world isn't going to be saved. I already know that, right? It's going to be a remnant, right? In the Bible, it says only a small group will be chosen, right? And only a small group will respond to God, right? And so, that is, so I do my part to make sure that I'm sharing the gospel. I've done it many times right here on my channel, but I want all these people who are not going to end up in the cool place, they're going to go to the hot place. I want them to have something meaningful in this world, and I want this world to be crafted better for another 100 to 500 to 5,000 years, right? Because I don't know when Christ is coming. So I want, and I truly believe for the seculars, for the lost, there's no better hope for humanity than Dungeons & Dragons. And I think because of how he structured it, it quite literally is a great man individual finder, right? And I want you to know you're a great man individual, or I want you to know if you don't have 100 sessions under your belt, get to work, because you don't know yet, right? And so I want you to know if you are a great man individual or if you aren't. And Dungeons & Dragons is the right tool to do that. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium.